I just want to make a quick video just going over some of the different scenarios that can happen in bidding to help you if you have any questions with certain types of things. I'll cover stuff like minimum bids, maximum bids, auto bids, popcorn bidding, all of those kind of things. And then I'll also leave a chapter information within the video. So if you're, say, good with minimum and maximum bids, but you'd like to figure out what popcorn bidding is, you can just forward to that section in the video and just catch that portion of the video. So I've created a fake product here. I've also created 2 fake accounts, and it's just called test product. And what I can do is I'm going to go back and forth between these 2 accounts to kind of show you how the bidding process would work if you were able to see both sides of the auction. Obviously, our auctions are completely private. Anything that you are posting as a bid or a maximum bid, that's only seen by you. This scenario will be different. We'll know kind of what each bidder is bidding, but that's just because it's an example. And like I said, everything within the system is 100% private. So I'll jump into it. So basically, I've made the bidding box as big as I can on both of these items so it's easier to see. So we've got an item that's starting at $10. There's no bids placed on this item yet. And what I'll do is I'll go to just the left-hand side and I'm going to place a bid from the left-hand user. So I could place, when there's no bids on it, I can place a start bid that's the same. And I'll just place a $10 bid. I can click yes to agree to the buyer's premium as well as the local pickup. And you can see that my bid has been placed. Now, it will show this once you're an active bidder. If you're not an active bidder, as you can see with the person on the right, it'll be in black. But once you become an active bidder in this particular item, it'll show it green if you are the one who's currently winning the auction, or red if you're active and not winning the auction. So with that in mind, this person is currently winning the auction. But then, if I go to the other side here, I could place a higher bid of 11. This person is now an active bidder, so they'll be red and green based on if they're winning or not. And you can see on the left-hand side, it's turned red for that person, which means they're not winning anymore. So I can go back and forth here a little bit. Obviously, this is in quick concession. You know, this might happen over days that people are posting bids back and forth, you know, based on whatever they might be interested in paying for an item. But you can see that it does update as you do this, so that'll give you a little bit more peace of mind to know if you are currently the winner of the auction or not. Sometimes it'll show the you. That won't necessarily always show up, but you can trust in the fact that it'll be green, showing that you are the winner. And if you do ever get anything that like just doesn't seem to act quite the way you expect it to, you can always refresh your window, and that will help to let you know what's going on. So there's a perfect example. I'm going to refresh my window on that one because it was just taking a little longer to load. Okay, and so we can see we're now up to $14. And then this person is currently winning that item. So this one, I'm going to reload that as well. And we can see that we've been outbid at $14. So that's how the minimum bidding works. And there are some people who choose to bid things up by maybe just $1 or $2 or something like that. But you can also use maximum bids or auto bids to place your bids. And so the way that that would work is if I came in on this item and I was the user on the right-hand side and I saw that I was beaten on this item, I might choose to push the bidding to maybe $25. Now, by me placing this bid, I'm saying that 25 is the maximum that I'm willing to go to. That doesn't mean that the actual price is going to go to 25 at this point. It'll go up only by the minimum bid increment, which is $1. So I'll place my bid of 25. When I do that, as we can see, it only went to 15. And the reason that it only went to 15 is because this other person that I was up against, their maximum was 14. So I only beat them by that minimum increment of $1, which took the auction to 15. 25 is still saved in the back end of the system, and the auto bid will work to go up to that price and stop at 25, but you only get it for the minimum bid increment. So if the auction was to end at this exact moment, for example, the person on the right would win this auction for $15. So if the other person came in and maybe they're the type of bidder who chooses to just go up by $1, $2 increments. So they could place a bid of $1 higher. So they put in 16, that automatically took it to 17 because the auto bid for the person on the right hand side came into play and placed a bid for them. So the person on the left might choose to bid again, $18, place their bid, and the auto bid comes into play again and bumps the price up to $19 so that the person on the right is winning because we're still under that $25 threshold that they have. If I go to $20 on the left-hand side, when I place the bid, 21, the person on the right-hand side is still winning. Can go 22. It happens again. You can see in this scenario, the green and the red doesn't work quite as well because it's showing it in red on the right-hand side. If I refresh the window, that'll solve it. But you really don't need to worry about this that much because remember the auctions are happening over like a week long. So it'll be updated as you're in it. It's just because we're throwing in all of these bids in such a quick concession that the system can deal with 90% of these scenarios, but there is about 10% that it just needs a refresh for. So currently our bid is at 23. The left-hand side is not winning the auction. The right-hand side is because they have a bid at $25. So, or a max bid or their auto bid at $25. So if the person on the left was to choose to go to $25, this is another scenario that we do get some questions on, and that is what happens if two people bid the exact same amount? We know that there's a maximum bid on the right-hand side of $25, and the left-hand side is about to place a bid of $25. When I place this amount, it acts a little differently in the way that the auction works. And what you can see is it went right to 25 instead of going to 26 because the person on the right had an auto bid that high. When this happens, what happens is the precedent is always given to the person who places that bid first. So in this scenario, if the auction was to end right at this moment, the person on the right-hand side would win the auction because they placed a bid of $25 at the first. And yes, the person on the left-hand side also placed 25, but it was later. So that's why the precedent goes to the person on the right. Okay. So if you see this happen and you're, bidding like the person on the left, in this case, you'd have to go to 26 and place a bid. And then you'd be the winner on that auction. And we can see that there. Okay, so that's how it works with the minimum bids, maximum bids, all the normal bidding circumstances, and also the green and the red to show you how you are, if you are the current winner or not. Another thing that's useful within this is the bid history. So you can check the bid history to see who's placed bids. It'll always say you for the bids that you've specifically placed, and then the other person will be listed there as well. There is a system that we have to keep the name somewhat private from other users, just in case that's people's preference. But we can see here that the first bid was placed at this time, and then some other bids came in later on. If you notice when you're looking in there, if a bid is placed and it's just an individual or a normal bid, it'll come in at that exact time. If they're auto bids that are placed, you'll see that a bid was placed here, and then at the exact same time, that other person, it looks like they placed a bid. Well, that's the auto bidder that is placing a bid for them at that time. So it's not like somebody's sitting at their computer making that change. it's just an auto bid. Okay, so that's basically that. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to pause the video quickly, just because I want to show you popcorn bidding. And popcorn bidding happens within the last 5 minutes of the auction. So I'm going to pause the video for a second and then I'll resume when we're a little bit closer to that 5-minute mark. To continue with the video, something else to note here, you can see that on the left hand side, it's 6 minutes and just over 6 minutes left in the auction, but on the right hand side, it's showing 1 minute, just under 1 minute left in the auction. So the reason that is because what I'm about to go into, popcorn bidding, has already happened in this auction. And that's just because a bid was placed within the last 5 minutes of the auction. What happens is when that is the case, that a bid is placed in the last 5 minutes, an additional 5 minutes is added to the auction. So this is another one of those scenarios that if you're watching within the last few minutes, you probably will want to do some refreshes in your window just to see if the time's been extended or if anybody's put in some kind of, fairly last minute bids or anything like that. A refresh will always solve that for you. And you can see here now it's gone up to the just over 5 minutes that is actually left in the auction. So to go over popcorn bidding, I'll give you a specific example of that. We're just going to wait for the time to get under 5 minutes left in the auction. Okay, so we are under 5 minutes. If this person on the right hand side, since they're not winning the auction currently, if they were to choose to put a bid in, doesn't really matter what they're bidding, let's just do $1. When I place this bid, it's going to add an additional 5 minutes to the end time of the auction. So I'll hit place bid. You can see this does take a little bit of time. It'll scroll around just while it's saving it in the system. What you can do is you could just refresh immediately so you don't have to wait for that. And we can see instead of it being under 5 minutes, which it was before, now we're at 9 minutes and 16 seconds. And this one on the right, I'll see that when I refresh as well. Or sorry, on the left. There we go, just over 9 minutes left. Okay, so that's how you do all of the different types of minimum bidding, your maximum bids, your auto bids. You can choose to bid however you like. Some users choose to just kind of put in little bits and kind of see how it's going, or other people may choose to bid larger increments to secure an auction, or maybe go to the max that they're willing to do, or anything. It's your preference entirely. And then we also went over how bids within the last 5 minutes have an additional 5 minutes added to the bid. So that covers everything there. Another thing to note on the side is just that you do get emails sent out to you anytime that you're outbid on an auction. So if you've bid in something early in the week or something like that, and somebody beats you during the week of auction, you'll receive an email saying that you're outbid, and then you can either choose to go back in and bid on that item, or maybe you want to look at another item or anything else. So hopefully that helps. If you have any questions, feel free to reach out to us. You can reach us through Facebook, Instagram, the chat feature within our website. You can also reach out to us by phone if you like, email, pretty much anything, and we'll answer your questions. Thanks very much.